And I'm also a certified fraud examiner, so I also do a lot of risk assessment and fraud prevention measures for companies. But you guys can also check out the website if you want, truedata.co.za.
Great, fantastic, Herman. And then just a quick question. So how did you find out about this call and us?
I think it was on LinkedIn with Trevor. I don't know if he connected with me. Yeah. I think that's what happened, yeah.
Okay, fantastic, great. Well, welcome.
Sure.
Daphne, are you with us? I see you have a microphone up and running now. Perhaps you'd like to just introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you are and what you do.
Actually, I describe myself with one word or two words. I help other people to succeed, especially small businesses. And I assist women that have been living with abuse and those that have family members or friends that are experiencing abuse, and for us, abuse, it's not only physical, but it's also, it can be emotional abuse, it can be verbal abuse in the home, it can be financial abuse in the home.
Definitely. Unfortunately, your sound is really breaking up quite badly on us. If you can just hold on for 1 second. If I can just ask.
So what are you experiencing?
Daphne, can you hear me?
Yes.
Your sound is breaking up very badly on us at the moment. If I can just ask everybody to switch their videos off for now, and just see if that helps with the bandwidth issues here. Okay, I think everybody's off. Okay, Daphne, let's try again, see if we can get you a bit clearer. We were hearing about your great work with abused people and the different types of abuse. But as I say, then we sort of lost you a little bit with the connection there. So if you'd just like to try.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My Wi-Fi this morning has been on and off. I saw when I was trying to send some messages, they were just hanging sometimes. But Leading Women Network was formed because I found myself and with other women in business that we didn't have a platform where we could safely share some of the challenges that we were experiencing. And we thought that if we were experiencing that, then we should open a platform where other, especially women entrepreneurs, can come together and be able to share their challenges, etc. So that is why we formed it last year, and it's been growing. Right now we've got about 500 and something. I don't have the exact figure right now, but 500 and something women that find it, a convenient platform for them to share. And we also have psychologists, social workers, and one psychiatrist who helps us in terms of intervention methods and advice.
Great, thanks, Daphne. Just a quick question: what is the name of your operation?
It's Leading Women Network.
Leading Women Network.
And we've got a Facebook page, is at Leading Women Network org.
Great, fantastic. Thanks, Daphne. Thanks very much for that. Right, Pierre Grobler, would you like to tell us about your business and what you're up with, what you're doing at the moment?
Good morning, everyone. I'm from Pro Anchor. We do manufacturing of stainless steel balustrading and also installations of them. Also palisade fencing, and also we're working with company into Cape that does all the trailers and manufacturing of new trailers and stuff. Yeah, that's what we do.
So great, thanks, Pierre. Rick, would you like to introduce yourself and your operation?
Hello, my name is Rick, and I'm your stress reliever. This morning, I want to talk a little bit briefly about Albert Einstein, who said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it earn interest, and those who don't understand it pay the interest. And now we're in a lockdown situation with reducing income, but all of those credit facilities that were used in the past continue to earn interest. In other words, we continue to pay the interest. So there's drama on all sides. You're paying the interest, but you're not having the income. There's one person that can assist with that, namely yours truly. I can take the stress away. I can lower that interest on, for example, on a credit card. If necessary, I can bring the interest all the way down to nil using the National Credit Act. So find me on Facebook, guys. Find me on LinkedIn. My name is Rick Veringer. Aha, debt counselors. Aha, we can take the stress away.
Great, thanks, Rick. Appreciate that. Peter Kutzer. In fact, as Peter comes online, I think we can probably put our videos back on if you want to, and just let's monitor it and see how the quality of the audio goes with the rest of the call. So, Peter, take it away.
Good morning, guys. My name is Peter Kutzer. I represent Caracal Software Solutions. I'm a specialist in mobile worker software, where we take you into a paperless environment, but we do not just specialize in mobile workforces. Any type of organization that has to keep records, we do document management in the cloud, presenting you with a cost-effective paperless environment where your documents are safe and securely stowed away. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Peter. Rob J, I'm not too sure who Rob J is. Rob, are you with us? Can you perhaps switch on your video briefly so we can see who we're talking to, and just tell us a bit about who you are and what your business is about?
Good morning, and thanks for the invitation. I have a share in a software development company. We've been in business for 24 years. So we have all the goods and the uglies associated with that business, but we're a survivor. We do work with large corporations like the banks. We do work with small companies, relatively small SMEs, and we do work with companies in other geographies, parallel geographies rather than up and down. So latitude-wise, so we do work for a company in South America and work for a company in Australia. So it's web-based, online. We're an AWS consulting partner, have been for 4 years. We screw up if we do the infrastructure ourselves, so we get somebody else to do it so we can focus on application development. I have another life, which I have explored a lot in the past, which is about consulting. It's about helping companies grow their businesses. It's about selling better. It's about having the right people in the right jobs. It's about having companies with alignment of KPIs so they're not dysfunctional. So after 27 years at IBM and 18 years working with Symbiotics, I'd like to share my knowledge. That's me.
Fantastic, Rob. That's great. Just tell me quickly, how did you get in touch with us? And I think this is your first time, is it?
It is. I get an invitation, I think, once a week. And at last, I've managed to build up the courage to face all you guys.
Well, that's fantastic, and welcome. We're pleased to have someone with your background and experience and knowledge on board, and we look forward to engaging with you as well. So welcome on board. Right, Jasper, are you still with us? Yeah, Jasper's there. Jasper, do you want to tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
I am a co-founder of the Chamber, and my main focus is on the community bank. We have a national community bank, and we're now assisting smaller community groups to also start their own community banks. So definitely, if you're interested with your women's group, we can talk afterwards.
Great. Thanks, Jasper. Steve, I think you were second from last, if I'm not mistaken. So tell us a bit about what you're doing. And I see your beard is growing longer in isolation here. So
See, I'm not the only one.
yeah.
But mine I've always had. But this last, you battle to get to your grooming parlor and all those things, you know. But anyway, I'm in consulting, mostly in the construction industry, property development. So I have other business interests together with my family, software development mostly, a couple of other small things. But then I'm chairman at the moment of Huge, which is a partnership for sustainable development. The Bleeding Heart Brigade, part of the Chamber's legacy. And we really enjoy what we do, especially at this time, because there's a lot of challenges that our society or communities at large face. And I must say that to a large extent, we've been preparing to help them face those challenges. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Steve. And right, I'd like to hand over to Trevor if he's managed to untangle his fingers in his keyboard and then introduce himself. Obviously, there's some new people online as well. So, but Trevor, you'd like to take it from here?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ivan. And for the newbies, I'm Trevor Nell. I'm the CEO of the Chamber and co-founder with Jasper. We won't bore you with the story. Later on, you'll get to hear how we got together. But the whole idea behind the Chamber is to help people bring new ideas, perhaps align with other people and create joint venture strategic alliances opportunities. And we'll explore that out of this. For instance, someone like Herman really interests me in terms of the data that he has access to, because that might help other people actually promote their businesses, especially those in consulting mode, etc. So we want to draw out the best of the best ideas, opportunities that allow people to collaborate. And I'm sure there was Trevor Kettler was on board. I saw him there. Trevor, is he still around? Have I lost him there? Trevor, introduce yourself.
Hi, I have introduced myself already.
So I wasn't listening. Sorry, Trevor. What can I do? Okay, I'll come back to you. So then everyone has introduced themselves. I think what I'd like for us then to do is just explore how people have come together off this platform, especially offline, to create exciting business opportunities. And one of the lead opportunities that has come out in the last 10 days is the Chamber coming together on Gavin Julian's virtual event platform to develop a virtual trade fair. So Gavin, if you wouldn't mind introducing how this came about, so people can understand how to interact with someone like yourself and how everyone can participate in getting involved in this virtual trade fair and bringing all of their connections together into that fair.
Right. Essentially, I think I started you guys off over here. If you go to my website, down at the bottom, there's a virtual events platform. The virtual events platform looks like this. And I actually tidied it up this morning, so I need just to refresh this screen. Essentially what it is a place where you can put your business online for the trade fair that we're busy organizing, and your guests get invited by yourself and they register, they get a virtual briefcase, they can go to an information desk to find out what's going on in the whole fair. There's an exhibitors directory of which you will be part. Exhibitor booths which have lots and lots and lots of stuff in. And by the way, there's designs, Dawn and her son who's sitting right next to her over there on the picture, if you look, Alex and Irene are busy working with us on this thing. And the auditorium where presentations can occur, just separate presentations or product launches, a networking lounge where you can share your business cards and get involved in group chats, and a resource center where you can get hold of just about everything that's mentioned above here. If you do become an exhibitor, there's preparation fairly obviously, because guess what? There are things you have to prepare in order to go online, and we help you do all of that. And at the moment, we have the virtual trade fair for the FOURWAYS Chamber. And Trevor, I haven't changed that sign yet, but it will happen. And I'm also busy putting up a virtual mall, which is a full-time presence online. Both of these should be ready to do just about everything by, I would imagine, probably Monday evening, everything should be ready. Ivan, I don't know whether I've put you under too much pressure on the virtual trade fair on that one, but I'm hoping we'll be done by then, because you and I are going to be
Gavin,
busy.
if I can step in here, please.
Go for it.
What I'd like you to convey, please, Gavin, is over the last couple of days, I mean, you're a hell of a tough cookie to work with, well, for me especially. But
ditto, by the way, ditto.
Yeah, okay. But I'd like you to explain for the newbies how this thing came about, how the speed with which your colleagues at the Chamber have actually worked together with you, and how you feel about working in a team format with those individuals, just so people can see and get a feel of how they can start collaborating very quickly to actually generate new income generating concepts, especially in lockdown mode like this.
Yeah. Well, except for Trevor, everyone's been a pleasure to work with. Basically last year I did a very small show with 4 exhibitors. They were, however, 3 legal companies and a bank, and they managed to invite 2,000 of their contacts as guests. And we made an absolute fortune in killing out of the whole thing. So that sort of got me interested in this thing. Anyway, when this whole COVID thing started coming up, I took this idea, which I'd matured quite a lot since that November test run, to basically the FCCC board, which consists of, Ivan, Trevor, Jasper, and myself, and said, hey guys, here's a toy, let's play. And immediately Trevor jumped in, Jasper jumped in, etc. And they all sort of said, you need to talk to. And within a very short period of time, we had a team together that's busy building this thing. Now, this team came together, we spoke I showed you guys the idea, I think it was last Thursday. Last Friday, we had the team together, and we should be live on all of this on Monday. So that was pretty damn quick. And it's actually quite nice to, and again, please, we had a session this morning about listening rather than talking. I think this forum has allowed us to cooperate at a much deeper level than we thought was possible. It's actually been quite nice.
All right, and I'm going to jump in here, Gavin, because I'd like for both Alex and Dawn to come on board from their perspective as to how they felt being invited to participate, and why they were invited to participate, and what they feel about the opportunity that they've picked up just from being part and parcel of the Chamber connection. Just our little group of people that are connected.
Yeah, so it's been a very positive experience, because we're well versed in the exhibition industry. I mean, my mom's been in it actually longer than I've been alive. So she knows the ins and outs, she knows everyone in it, and she knows how it functions from the ground up. And we're bringing that physical expertise now into the digital realm, where we can actually help people with our expertise in preparing and getting everything sorted out, so that they can have an extremely positive experience in a very challenging time. So it has been extremely positive for us to get involved with this, and we're excited to see how this actually evolves going forward, because it's not going to usurp physical exhibitions altogether. It's going to complement them in the future. It's going to be an add-on for physical exhibitions when they do come back, and they will come back in some sort of a form. So this is just actually going to grow the industry instead of curtailing it. So it's very exciting going forward.
Dawn?
Yes, so as Alex says, I've had many years of experience, and I've got huge contacts in the industry. So we know all the major players, all the major organizers, which some of them that we've spoken to are very excited about this new avenue and new outlet for the issues that they're finding themselves in now.
Okay, so the point that I want to make, especially for the newbies, is you may be sitting with some ideas. You may be sitting with something on the shelf that is a concept that you didn't have the right group of people to actually take it to market. What you need to do in a forum like this is to turn around and say, hey, here's a concept, I'll throw it on the table, and let's see if anyone wants to pick it up. And if there's a couple of 100,000 or a couple of million to be made out of that, rather than it sitting on the shelf and doing 100% of nothing. So one of the individuals I'm going to point to here is back to Herman. Because Herman, I want us to explore a little bit more about the data that you have collected just from being involved in that industry, and how you feel that you could collaborate with that data together with people that are going to go out to every single business out there that is hungry to connect with people that they cannot connect with now. Obviously, that's the opportunity that the social distancing brings us. If we can take a virtual trade fair and give everyone an opportunity to get in front of databases and also demonstrate their products and services, we've got some stunning opportunities. So Herman, what can you suggest from your knowledge of data and databases can actually align with this opportunity under discussion right now?
Okay, so obviously providing leads is the starting point, I would say. Having access to the Bureau data means you can profile data from the Bureau on various ways. So Experian probably has about 13,000 variables out there, to give you an idea of the number of variables that they have on one person. So you can think for yourself all the things that are interesting if you want to market a specific product. You want to target people in a specific income range. You want to target people in a specific area, maybe. You want to target people of a specific age. And having access to their credit history as well helps a lot. But you can only use that data where the credit history is applied according to the Act, which means you can only use it for people that are members of they're financial service providers, FSP, so banks or insurance companies and that. But you can provide leads to anyone out there where you don't use the credit history information. So you can use age, and you can use a predictive income type of variable to provide that data. And the data is fairly inexpensive to buy, especially through me, because I've got all the contacts in the industries. I've worked with all the credit bureaus, and I'm helping a new credit bureau now grow their client base, which gives me great, I can bring the pricing down. So the pricing on this bureau will be less than any of the other credit bureaus out there. And all the credit bureaus get their data from the same place, basically. The banks, the retailers, everybody submits a monthly file with the balances and everything, which the bureaus then use to build different variables, which I'm helping them with as well. That's what I did at CompuScan. I helped them to build new variables out there. So, and this, don't just think credit bureau data, think the credit bureaus allow to store data from anywhere. So that's access to all the property data. Who owns what type of property, what the value of the property, where are the properties located, vehicle data, does somebody own a vehicle or not? there's so much data floating out there. So and
So
then in
Herman,
terms
let me
of
step in.
yes.
So you're talking like a good man that needs to sell his products and services, and you want to get some income in, obviously, by selling the data because you represent a company. What I want you to put your thinking cap onto here, Herman, is you've got access to this data. You know what is valuable, and you know what is not valuable and useless. And I want you to consider if you were able to bring, let's say you said 13,000 different reflection points or something to that effect, okay. Let's say that you had access to 30,000 corporate directors, CEOs. Do you have access to that sort of data?
So we've got access to the whole country's database. The problem with identifying, you can identify business owners because we've got directorships. So you can definitely identify any directors of companies. The problem is you don't know, there's a lot of dormant companies. There's a lot of companies where the turnover is low, but there is ways of profiling. Yes.
Okay, let me upset the whole etiquette of this operation here and just break in on you. The point that I actually want to get to here is, if you hear that a group of people want to actually promote a virtual trade fair to 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 business decision makers, and you can get access somehow to that target database, and you can throw that into the pot. The best deal for you is a slice of the commission and the action that actually comes out of that, and the group as a chamber is helping each other to actually grow at zero risk down, but getting a return on those people that actually sign in. So I want you just to sit and consider whether you have that as a potential that you can throw in, or whether you are here just to sell a service and a product, and we respect that. But I'm looking to dig deeper to see if there are joint ventures and strategic alliances that we can very quickly work together, as Gavin has done by throwing his development expertise together with the experience of Dawn and Alex to create a completely new business that all the chamber members can benefit from. So I just want to put that across. Put that into your thinking pipe and smoke it as we're doing, and see if you can. Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, sure. Look, I have no problem contributing where I can to help them build this app, and I can do it at cost where I don't make anything on it. But there is always a base cost that the Bureau incurs for the data, to source the data, because they also pay amounts to source the data from the various providers. But it's a very low cost. To give you an idea, I've been selling the leads at about 50 cents or 40 cents a lead, and that's profiled leads on exactly what you want. But they've got a minimum of about 10,000 Rand order, which I can probably bring down to about 6,000 Rand if I take my profit away. But so it's for fairly low cost, you can get a lot of leads.
All right.
So,
okay. I'll explore things with you, Director, at a later stage. Can I ask Rob J. If you can come on board as a newbie, and what you think you're hearing in this little discussion of joint venture strategic alliances versus someone that's actually selling a product and a service or representing another company. What's your first impression, interpretation of that little chat line?
Question again.
I didn't catch you.
Sorry, I should be unmuted now.
Okay, what did you say?
Would you like to ask your short question again?
All right, okay. Just what is your first impression, interpretation of the discussion I was having with Herman, looking to go down the line to see if there are potential resources that we can work together with individuals, especially new individuals who come into the mix, where we can set up joint venture strategic alliances, as opposed to selling directly our products and services or our consulting. What's your first impression of that discussion?
Well, I'm quite taken by the virtual, the idea behind the virtual trade fair.
Mm-hmm.
Symbiotics, the company that I have a share in, has built an event management system as well. And I guess collaborating on something like that is probably worth looking at.
Right.
I think a lot of what is going to be done can actually be done on a platform like AWS, for example. So there's a lot of the services that exist within AWS that actually bring stuff to market fairly quickly. So combining what you guys have done very successfully so far in combining the needs of the event market, the current COVID shutdown, lockdown, and some innovative ideas that you have, and said, okay, so how do we continue along this line of business even if we can't put up a trade fair itself? So I think that dealing with the challenges, as the Mr. Olivier said, are not going to go away. I think the importance of being able to form collaborations like this are going to become all the more important. I think thinking as a community rather than thinking as individuals is what COVID-19 has brought to the table for us, far more so than I'm okay, don't really care about how okay you are. So yeah, I think the ideas are really good and worth pursuing.
Yep. And Rob, if just for those of us that don't know how much resource you have at your fingertips, what do you have as resource, and what would you like to connect to something that's missing for you that could unleash major revenue flow in, if you could just bridge the gap with something that's missing? What is that?
So we don't sell very well. So we're a good techie company, but we don't have much of a sales capacity. And selling in the world that we've got as people that are also in that world, it's not your average salesperson that can sell. It's a person with a technical background, so you know what you're selling and you don't lead people up the garden path.
Yep.
So it's really connection with the market is kind of what's important to us. That lead generation facility that Herman spoke about. So,
okay, so you've been tickled by Herman, number one, to reach out there.
Not directly, no.
Yeah. And when it comes to sales, we've got some specialists here in Trevor Kettler and Ian Johnson. I'm going to come back to them. But also I'm interested that you actually touch on the need for perhaps...
And Guy Bain, sorry, Trevor. Thank you.
Guy, and I'll get to all of you, I think important that we actually understand what is the size and reach of your company at the moment, or your various companies. You talked of having something in symbiotics, was that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, what are the size and reach of these, so that we understand what the scale is of your particular challenge and the type of market you're looking to reach?
So the scale of the challenge is we don't do business very successfully with very small businesses. Okay, so the cost of starting up a project.
Can you define a small business? Sorry to interrupt, Rob. Can you define a small business? What is your definition?
Somebody who's less like who has an idea that they want to bring to market, and don't have the necessary funds, which is about probably 300K for a minimum development work. It's just expensive to start up. The most expensive thing is starting with a new client. Our history with the banks and stuff like that is our typical projects are about half a million a month.
All right, so and if I may, and let me just share, Ivan is actually hosting this, but at the moment I'm just carrying the chat side of this. If you actually want to break in, Ivan, if you put your hand up, your virtual hand up, then Ivan can actually turn around and say, okay, here's someone who wants to come in. So we try and keep this etiquette under control here, because as it gets bigger and bigger, if everyone just breaks in, we're going to have a problem. And we've been doing very well with this on the Wisdoms chats every single morning. So just to explore one little avenue, Rob, ideally, who do you want to connect with? Can you describe who they are that would unlock? So from a sales perspective, do they need to have databases, or do they need to have contacts, or do you just need someone to give you some strategic input as to how you can build your sales function in your operations?
We probably want somebody to give us leads. We can define the kind of customer we want. We've done a lot of work on our branding recently. We participated with the Business Day 4IR event, if you were aware of that. That happened in March, I think it was. We've written papers on 4IR, so it's a case of we've got a lot of IP. It's a case of trying to connect that IP to markets that, or to people that actually see in us the ability to, I guess, take their wonderful business ideas to fruition. So we have quite an active website. So we get quite a lot of inquiries coming through the website, but we get inquiries from one extreme that says, I want to build an Uber-like system, and I'll say, well, do you realize how much it costs? And they said, well, we have 80K. And I said, yeah, well, that'll get you a bus ticket, but that's about all. So there's a lot of, I wish I could, and I think I can, but the knowledge gap is enormous in the market in terms of what it actually takes to build and run a system.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask, so that we can get to a couple of other folk, just to get the inputs in, is Rob, go onto the chat side, put in your contact details, your email address. I'm sure someone like Herman's going to want to get in touch with you straight away, and Trevor and Ian and Guy, obviously. But put in your contacts in the chat side, and also perhaps a little summary of your need on the chat side, so that we can be running two different forums at the same time. So you're passing on information from that side as we go to someone else. So
if I can just interject there. I think we've had a great discussion. I see there are a number of new people that have come onto the call since we've been going. So I'd just like to whip through those few new people and get them to introduce themselves very quickly, so we know what else and who else we've got online. So I think Anton, you came on a while back. So Anton, if you wouldn't mind just switching on your video briefly for us and introducing yourself and your business, and so we know who we've got with us here.
I just need to find the right button. I'm very incompetent with Zoom.
No problem. We're all learning. You switch yourself on and then switch yourself off again. So that sound-wise, that is. So I'll unmute your mic. We can there. No, we seem to be struggling with your mic there, but Anton, just try unmuting your mic from your side again. The other way to do it, Anton, is if you're on a laptop or a PC, if you just press your space bar.
I've unmuted it, and I've got my video
on. Seem to be struggling a little bit there with Anton.
I'm doing that right now.
Okay.
Ivan, while that is being done, can I ask Rob what his surname is? If you don't mind, Rob.
Guy, if you can maybe just put those kind of comments into the chat box, then I think it saves us jumping around in the conversation. So, Anton.
Good point. Good point. Thank you. I'm learning. Thank you.
Yeah, you can put that in the chat box too. Right, Anton, we seem to be struggling a little bit to get you online, so maybe I can just switch across quickly to Elaine. Elaine, welcome on board. Long time no see, and I'm glad you managed to make it onto a call. There we go. Ew, that looks very pleasant in the background. There, where are you?
I'm sitting in my study. It's quite a neat trick that you can do with Zoom.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for moving this online. I think it's a great initiative that you guys have. Developing people's skills and business ideas are always very close to my heart anyway. I've never been able to make it to FOURWAYS. The traffic is terrible. Maybe not today, but certainly it's a challenge. But it's a great idea, and thanks for keeping me posted. I'm here just to peek my nose in and have a look around, if I may do that.
Absolutely, Elaine, and maybe you just want to give people a little bit of a idea of what you do and you know, what you're busy with these days.
Okay, I specialize in construction procurement. So what I do is I put tender documents together for clients. I manage the publication of the whole tender process, do evaluations, and end up sort of basically drafting the recommendations for the client. Public sector, private sector. I'm very involved in the universities at the moment with their capital infrastructure works and so on. So that's what I do for a day job.
Sorry, thanks, Elaine, and again, welcome on board. Great to see you again. It's been a while. Veronica, I see you with us. Good morning. So maybe just unmute yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you're busy with. And
good morning, everyone. My name is Veronica. I am a social entrepreneur. I'm currently busy with urban farming solutions. I have introduced briefly to the chambers. I'm a veggie pyramid that allows you to grow lots of vegetables in a small space. And that's what I'm busy with. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Veronica. Anton, we seem to have lost your microphone now. So I'm not too sure whether you're struggling a bit with your tech there, but perhaps if you'd like to type into the chat box a bit about who you are and what you do, and then everybody can actually get to know who we've got there. I see also we have another Peter online. Peter, that's not Peter Kutzer. I'm not too sure what Peter it is, but Peter, if you're with us, perhaps just put your video on and your mic and just introduce yourself quickly, and we can find out who we've got here. There we go, Peter Brown.
Yeah, it's Peter Brown.
Great, Peter. Maybe just introduce yourself quickly to the group, and then we'll move back to Trevor.
Yeah, Peter Brown, farming by faith. So in enterprise development space with land and agriculture, and really defining the operating model for land linking, so linking entrepreneurs to agriculture. So I'm in the definition phase. Exciting because I'm out on my farm while everybody is kind of stuck in Joburg and the craziness of COVID. So yeah.
Great, thanks, Peter. Okay, Trevor, do you want to take it back there and carry on? See, Cecile is somebody a razor. I'm not too sure who.
Yeah, I think also, you know, from his picture there, he looks as though he's got one of these mohawk haircuts. All he needs to do is put a pink hair dye on the top there. Now, Cecile, come on board and let's have a chat with you and what you are looking to achieve from the chamber, what you've picked up from the physical meetings, and what you're starting to pick up from these meetings, and start asking what it is that these newbies can do for you. Is Cecile listening?
Sorry. It's only men that like their beards. No women like beards. Sorry. Women like men groomed.
Cecile, stay on track. Otherwise, I'm going to cull you from this forum here. So what do you want from the newbies that have come onto the forum here? What do you want to tell them about what it is you do? And are you a hungry entrepreneur? What do you want to achieve, especially out of this lockdown period when it comes to business and the resources that people have on this forum?
Well, it looks like everyone that's on this forum at the moment has some form of internet, but that is something that we can help with right now, because there are still some suppliers that are installing fiber and LTE at this time. Some of them don't, yeah, I don't think that these 21 days are only going to be 21 days. I think it's going to be much longer. So if you want to carry on working properly, then maybe you need to have some stable internet wherever you are working, and I'm not sure that LTE does the trick everywhere. So yeah, so that's my little sales bit of that. And if there's anything else that anyone wants me to help them with, I'm happy to do that, and to see where we can do any collaborations with anyone else that needs help.
Cecile, I'm just going to explore a little bit. How many business operations have you visited in the last 4 to 5 years?
Probably, that's a good question. I was actually just doing budgets and things yesterday, but I didn't really count. Probably about, I would say, 150 to 200.
150 to 200. And do you have a really good contact details with the business owners of those operations?
Yeah, well, I actually talk directly to the business owners. I don't talk.
You talk directly to the business owners, and there are people on this forum today who are saying, hey, I want to connect with business owners, and especially if you've got a really good understanding of who they are, maybe we can do some business together. Would you like to collaborate and joint venture and be the front marketing person for, let's say there was a Rob J there who was talking about, man, you know, our weakness is getting out to these type of companies. Would you want to represent or be able to share information with him as to people who have needs for their products, and would you be prepared to share common on that basis?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's a good business model. Not like so one of the people at the chamber, I should add to say, came to me and said, "Oh, I understand you are good at knocking doors down. Don't you want to go and knock all these doors down for me?" And I said, do you have specific people that you want me to speak to? No, I must just take the yellow pages and look for and sell their services. And I thought, guys, how can one business owner ask another business owner? I'm not 25 and a sales rep that is looking to scoot around and talk to people. I do targeted talks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I can come in, and that's just a little lesson for everyone, we assume right from the beginning that the quality of individual that comes on board here is of a caliber that runs their own businesses, looks to connect. They just don't have the time to knock down those 150 doors that you've been knocking down regularly for the last 3 to 4 years. And the smart thing is to find a way to actually collaborate with someone who is your peer and not your junior in an environment like this. So what I'd like you to do, Cecile, is again, in the chat facility, put your contact details there, have a chat to Rob, and next week when we come on board, I'd like to hear whether you actually pulled something together or you didn't, and whether other people actually want to come on board. Ivan, is there anyone that has been missed as a newbie? Because if not, then I'd like to go and explore people like Ian, like Trevor, like Guy, and Peter Kutzer would also like to talk about where he is, and anyone else that I'm missing.
Trevor, I think, yeah, Anton seems to be struggling a little bit with his tech. He was on a moment ago, and we seem to have lost his microphone again. So I was hoping to get him on. Anton, I'm not sure if you are sorted out there, but I think he's the only one we haven't managed to hear from yet. As I say, he did look like he was all sorted out now, but his mic has disappeared again. So, Anton, if you can hear me and you can chat, if you can't, if we're not hearing you, if you wouldn't mind just typing your details into the chat box. If you are new to Zoom, if you just go to the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see there's a little icon to open the chat box, and you can type in a message to everyone, or just to one of us in that chat box, and we can at least get to know who you are and what you're doing. But he does seem to be struggling with tech. So Trevor, I think now just carry on for now.
Okay, so let's do it in this order. Trevor Kettler, Ian Johnson, Guy Danes, and then I'll touch on those that haven't had an opportunity. I see a couple of names like Jasper, etc. So Trevor, just come in, introduce yourself quickly to those that haven't met you, short and sharp, and how you can help them to do business.
Okay, so thank you very much. So my business is presentations. I teach people strategic business skills, how to present yourself, how to sell yourself more particularly. And with the fourth industrial revolution is how to own your industry, how to capture it, how to be the leader in your industry. And especially in times like this in lockdown, when we come out of lockdown, I think we're going to see a very different world. And how ready are each one of you? Because the way that we've done business in the past, a month ago, I think is going to be very different to how business is going to be run. So we're exploring that field at the moment. I've written quite a few articles, so if some of you can, and it would be nice if you can, join up on the Midrand Community Chamber Facebook website and just read the articles, and maybe you're going to get something out of that that's going to help and inspire you. Rob mentioned that battling to sell. I think everyone's going to battle to sell because you've got to do things differently now. As I say, the old way of doing things, it's not going to work anymore. So that's where I come in at.
Right, let me unmute myself. Right, so thank you, Trevor. Just from my perspective, I just want to say thank you for developing the Midrand satellite for ourselves, and to also recognize that there are so many business operations there. You've got to connect with Gavin, Julian, and ourselves on what we're doing on the virtual trade fair, because we've got at least 1,000 target businesses that can get involved with us there. So Alex, Dawn, don't forget that this is an important person to be networking with. Ian, if you'd like to come on board, and just introduce yourself and stuff that you've learned. You know, I pick up that you and I are both learning big things using this technology over the last couple of, or 10 days.
Yeah, indeed. Picking up on what Trevor Kettler was saying, a month ago, I was in the traditional consulting space, consulting across a number of disciplines, from sales management, sales activity management, relationship management, and similar business strategies, etc. And like Cecile, I think also, you know, I'm not in the business now of becoming a commission salesman for people that just want to find somebody to bring them leads. I think it's a lot more involved. If you want to develop a sales profile, then you need to look at structuring a proper way of doing that, as opposed to looking for people that can give you leads, because you've got to find the right person, especially if you're in a specialized field like IT. So I have reinvented myself completely, and so when I come out of this 21 days or plus, I have a completely different business model, a completely different business opportunity. So I have been using Zoom quite a lot from time to time, but not to the degree we're using it now. So each one of these, I'm learning kind of disciplines and learning new things about it. I think certainly that's the way to go. And if you can operate a business where a lot of your time can be spent in this format, then I think that's where people are going to be going. And as we all predicted in the sort of future, corporates are not going to be doing business in the same traditional way they've done before. So yeah, it's very interesting times. I'm really enjoying this lockdown, because it does put you into a forced mode of looking at how you're going to do business in the future. It'll certainly be very different for me.
Good. Thanks, Ian. And I see Elaine put in a pretty good profile there in the chat group, and it's a neat little facility to utilize to actually put information. And Ivan, what we should do at the end of this is make certain we take a hard copy of that, and we can perhaps put that into some email response or something. So it might be a nice little tool that we can use just to capture people's information or what they want. Elaine, if I can ask you, I read your little profile there, but what I'm not picking up from it is exactly what you want, what you need, what what do you want right now? And that's perhaps what we should be sharing, all of us. Hey, this is what I want. And I tend to get the feel that most people perhaps can't describe exactly what they want, and we've got to learn to start actually describing that when we come onto a forum like this. So Elaine, if you can just turn around there and say, hey, this is who I want to connect with, this is what I want, this is what I need. Or you might turn around and say, no, listen, I've got a ton of money here, this is what I'm prepared to give to Steve Petzer, because he'll take your money anytime he can get it. Okay. Yes, Elaine.
Yeah, Trevor, thanks for that. You make a very good point, and I think that's something that all of us small business owners actually ignore. We're too excited about what we do and what we develop and what fantastic skills and services we have, but we don't think about what other people require and how we can get our services to be topmost of their priority list. I think it's a very important aspect. From my perspective, I just wanted to drop in. I had a bit of time in between other Zoom meetings today, so I thought I'd see how this is all working and what is going on, and then just see how things go.
Great stuff. Thank you. And
that was really my interest, is just to see what it's about.
How are we doing compared to your other Zoom meetings?
Well, they're kind of technical. They want this done and that drawing inserted. So this is a bit of refreshment, you see.
Okay, great stuff. Guy, if you would like to come on board and share who you are, what you're about, and you've got the gist of this thing, go for it.
Thank you. Firstly, C19 has forced me to adapt big time. But some background, I effectively retired in December 2018. Took a sabbatical last year and written a book titled Keep Sales Management Simple, Stupid. But prior to that, was a business coach, etc., etc. So that's just some background, but you can check me out on LinkedIn. Secondly, I think from my point of view, I've seen a lot more activity, a lot more interaction on LinkedIn, and I think going forward it's going to be a bigger platform. It's not really used that effectively in South Africa vis-a-vis the rest of the world in terms of my research. Thirdly, when I came to the chamber, my objective was to get out and start to meet some people face to face, because I'm a person's person, but I'm actually enjoying this sort of contact better for a number of reasons. And I took on the responsibility that with all the new guests coming on, we need to get you to sign up. That's the bottom line. If you see the value, and just on our discussion in the past hour, I believe a lot of you can see the sort of value that pulls through. I had to go to 3 of these meetings first before I started to get a feel, etc. Maybe that's because of my personality. But what Trevor and the team have set up, we need to get more dynamic. Everyone uses that word speed. We need to allocate time in our week to actually see what benefits if the community, FOURWAYS community grows, you're going to grow. That's just fundamentally how it is. If you know the numbers talk the numbers. Secondly, in terms of repositioning myself over this period of time, I have 37 years of sales training experience, and I see a lot of owners or sales managers or sales directors that actually do sales performance coaching. Okay, and that sales performance coaching is on the job, looking at their numbers, looking at all that stuff. I position myself where I do sales developmental coaching, okay, where I develop the individual, okay, because 70% of sales reps in South Africa don't hit their targets. And I've been following some other people, and a lot of sales reps have got the bullet, and that's been good because it's given the companies the opportunity to get rid of the passengers and some of the cynics or some of the mavericks, although you need some of those in your team. So I'm totally focused. I've done all the material, etc. I'm using this platform already to coaching, and I have a session this afternoon at 2:30. Ivan helped me a couple of days ago to sort my life out on the Zoom, so thank you. And that's a part of the value. So I just focus on sales development coaching of sales people, sales managers, and sales directors, because in my view, the sales directors, etc., and sales managers need that. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. Thank you, Guy. And I'm going to get across to Peter Kutzer. Peter, if you'd like to intro yourself and what you've picked up from the session, any connections or contacts that you'd like to explore.
Morning, Trevor. I've been an IT project manager all my life. I've specialized in enterprise resource planning systems. I've got my own company called Caracal Software Solutions, and we implement for small and medium enterprises mobile workforce solutions, but also document management solutions. The document management solutions are aimed at those companies that have a need or a wish to bring down their expenditure in terms of paperwork, machine renting expenses, stuff like that, and to make them all over a more efficient and a more effective organization. Just one small mention. Most companies of size do have photocopying machines. Now, a photocopier is either a capital expenditure or it is a rental agreement, but either way, the machine has to be serviced, which is a cost. But what most people do not realize, every time that you make a copy, that copy is stuck in the memory of the machine. And that makes your data vulnerable. Now, to move away from that, the solution that we offer is a cloud-based document management solution where everybody that has the need to access your documents can get access based on your parameters. It is safe, and you will be doing something for the environment because we will be saving on trees that has to be cut down to make paper from. So I'm here to get up persons, companies that have a need to reduce their cost and to become more efficient by saving on their paper cost. And that's it, Trevor.
Thank you. And, you know, I'm reminded that the sort of target market that you go to is the same target market that Cecile goes to. And I'm just wondering if there's a joint venture there that can be struck on a peer-to-peer basis. I seem to remember that you might have got into a discussion like that, but I'll let you guys do it on the sideline. Just as I'm looking at this, I see Anton has come on. We don't know who Anton is, do we? Or Ivan, do you? In fact, Ivan, take over and you just explore who and where Anton is from.
We'll certainly try again. I think Anton has been struggling a little bit with his connectivity, but Anton, if you can hear us, if you can unmute your microphone and maybe just introduce yourself to us and tell us what you do. We'd love to hear from you if we can get that one right. Yeah, it looks like, and Anton's image is actually frozen. I'm not sure if his connection is functioning 100% there, Trev, but I see Guy is working out to drive this technology and he's put his hand up. So Guy, you wanted to say something quickly?
Just to Peter Kutzer, you selling a specific solution relative to the photocopiers. How are you packaging your sales approach, and how are you going about marketing that specific service to people, to companies, etc., that have got their data hidden in their photocopy machines?
All right, so Guy, what I'm going to ask is, we don't get into those technical details. You do that direct with Peter, so you make that arrangement.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So just so that we can give others an opportunity to get on board, I still want to get to Jasper and anyone else that wants to just have a little bit more of a discussion. But the connection that I just want to make here quickly is between Elaine and Steve Petzer. Steve, I presume that you've actually read Elaine's profile that he posted up. Is there connection potential, or do you guys know each other? If you'd like to just come on board and see if we can strengthen up some sort of contact for you at the same time. Steve Petzer.
Yes, sure. I've read through his also listened when he actually introduced himself. I think there's definitely room for collaboration. I also had a private message from Herman. His wife is working with the previous CFO of Marian Roberts, which is also in our field. So yes, I'll make contact reach out to him and set up a coffee or something.
Okay, and then please, Steve, just put your details in the chat facilities so that Elaine can actually copy it and have that to connect with you.
I'll do that. Thanks.
Okay, great stuff. Jasper, would you like to come on board? I think we're sitting there close to 10:45. We've got about 15 minutes left. Just from your perspective, what would you like to share? Who you are, what you're about, what the newbie should know?
Well, I think the platform of the Chamber is a very critical platform because almost everyone is concerned about the new economy post-lockdown. And it's one thing to have access to technology, but in the end, you do business with real-life people, and you do business with people that are already connected. But just saying you know someone doesn't mean anything. It's about real relationships that's been established over many years. And I think that's what we have here in the Chamber. And like I earlier said, is the more such people we can have, the more exponentially we open up opportunities for each other. But my specific interest is on the area of the community bank. And I think people don't understand the power that we have within the Chamber with our community bank that's already operational, and with products like, just to go back to about 2008, when the banks collapsed around the world, the so-called very big commercial banks. And what people don't realize is they've collapsed because their underlying financial model wasn't built on actual money. It was fractional. So it was the trust in the system that allowed them to digits, and we trusted the digits. We are pretty much in the same boat right now in South Africa, that with the big commercial banks, they don't have to have real money. it's virtual money, and here and there they just print virtual fiat money to keep the economy going. And the scary thing is, and for most people they wouldn't even pick up on it, but when we were downgraded, the Reserve Bank jumped in and started to buy up government bonds. In other words, they were just printing money to make sure that there's money to pay salaries and wages of people. But it's not underpinned by anything real. So in time to come, we're going to see the outworking of this into higher inflation, all of that. Now, how does a community bank differ from this? The community bank is based on actual people, actual money circulating, and we can only lend out what we have. And in the context of a chamber, we also know how to collaborate and unlock resources. It becomes a powerful tool that we can build up our own mechanism to start funding operations, take equity in each other's businesses, and so forth. So I really want to encourage people to find out more about community banking. They can visit the website. For now, I'm just going to refer them to the GIC website, which is the basic community bank, but it's the same bank that we use for the chamber. So if you want to learn about what do we do in the bank itself, you can go to I'll put it up here, www.geek.coop, and then for more information about how you can collaborate with the chamber, just go to our chamber website. But then definitely people like yourself with your group, and if I remember, you said over 500 ladies already involved in your network. You could have the opportunity now to also design a specific funding solution for your ladies. So we have the experience now over the last 12 years. Yeah, so that's where I want to come in to say, let's appreciate what we already have in the chamber. And I want to, Guy keeps saying we need 420 because he looks at what is potentially possible from his current experience. I'm saying forget about what is potentially possible. We need 1,000 members in the chamber. And when it happens, it happens. But it's easier to focus on 1,000 because at 1,000, we start having the economies of scale to start drawing, becoming a cooperative bank in South Africa, the first one in Africa. It will open us up to funding opportunities from credit unions and cooperatives from around the world. So I'd rather want us to just focus on 1,000, however we get there. And we can get there fast if we start getting groupings on board who then collaborate with us in the chamber. Yeah, so that's from my side. Thanks, Trevor.
So Jasper, I'm going to ask you this simple question. Let's say we have 200 newbies on board right today, because I'd love this technology. In fact, on this system, I think we can go up to 300 can come on board here as this grows. So let's say we have the 300 on board right now, and you want them to do something specific. What do you want us to do?
I want them all to first of all, go and register on our FCCC website. Perhaps, Ivan, you can pull that up. And just where they can register and just give us their contact details. And then we can send them to our banking platform. And after they familiarize themselves with our common bond, and if they want to participate, they can, as a matter of fact, no, they can just stay on the FCC website. And we've got 3 options there. We've got the 250, the 500, and the 1,000 Rand option. And either one of those options already make them a member of the community bank. And then they will be contacted. So by signing up on any one of these platforms, any one of these memberships, you will then be contacted, get some information, and in time to come, our team of wealth specialists will contact you to set up a welcome interview. So we can connect with where are you at right now in your business, and then from there map out a journey and a plan that can take you forward and become, find more value out of the whole chamber collaboration.
So Jasper, I want it even simpler than that, just to understand. I want in simple steps for people to move ahead. So your suggestion, become a member of the chamber. Let me just see if I've got this. Become a member of the chamber, either at 250, 500 or 1,000 Rand a month, dependent on the scale of your business and where you're positioned. Does that give you an automatic account in the bank? And what is the minimum amount I should put into that bank account to have it open and running?
All right, and we will in time, because we a bit thinly spread on the ground with all the focus now on the forthcoming trade fair, but we will put on the basic information on the bank. So automatically you're included in that membership, whether you come in per month or per annum. You will then be a member with access to all our training material, and you will have access as an individual to 4 basic accounts. The one is a 32-day call account where you get above market rates on your money while it's there. And I call that emergency funds that you put aside towards maybe Christmas shopping or school fees or bonuses. But that's your account. A second account, which is also just a normal account, is where you can save at above market rates on a 6, 12 or 24-month basis. Then there's a third account. So the number 3 and 4 I call sophisticated accounts. With that, you might need some assistance from one of our coaches. But the third account is what we call the investor account. You activate it with 2,000 Rand, and then you top it up as fast and as much as you can. But from that account, we then get an idea. So it's our own internal crowdfunding. We then have an idea who are potential investors, and then with the group of specialists that we have in the chamber, we can then source business opportunities and property opportunities and bring it to the people, and they can at that stage decide, yes, I participate or not. And then the fourth and final product is our Wealth Accelerator, where you invest at 0 interest, but after 12 months you can borrow against your own money up to 3 times interest free, and the first loan repayable over 12 months, but thereafter repayable over up to 7 years. So by the time that we have 1,000+ people participating, we could get to a point where we can even buy property and pay it off in 7 years interest free. So that's where we're going with that, and people can use that same facility to buy stock and buy machinery and so forth.
Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make is that there's something that we're building a community here, and we have our own bank. There's no other chamber that has this opportunity, and there should be a minimum requirement. You should say, oh, stuff it, let's just put $1,000 into this thing or whatever, but you must help us make that simple decision is what I'm suggesting to you. And on top of that, I'm suddenly starting to think, because I look for all the lurks and the gaps, if I put 100 Rand into that account, do I have to wait 12 months before I can get 300 Rand out to buy my Suzuki or something to that effect? Those are the things that we can actually toy with at a later stage. I don't want you to go into those technicals, but I do want you to come on board and turn around and say, okay, get involved with us. We're going to 1,000 odd members. We want 1,000 accounts. That will give us even more leverage than we've actually got at the moment. Give us those minimums, and we just put money in and we go.
Well, because we serve a wide range of members, I would certainly say put some money definitely on a monthly basis into your emergency account, which is your 32-day call account. But as soon as possible, activate your investor account with 2,000 Rand upfront, and then commit yourself with a monthly savings into that account of whatever you can afford, but 200, 500, 1,000 or even more. And then just other numbers that I want to throw out there. At 1,000 Rand, at 1,000 members, we would become a cooperative bank and with a national license, which is very important. And at that level, we open ourselves up, because I can tell you right now in Europe, people are getting negative interest rates and growth on their money. They are looking towards Africa and specifically South Africa, but they don't want to work with the commercial banks because of the model of commercial banks. They want to work with the cooperative banks. And we will become the first national cooperative bank in South Africa with access to the whole of Africa. And then once we built a community strong enough at around 3,000 plus members, we can become a health cooperative. That's the same as saying we can become our own medical aid, in another way of saying. And so the numbers just start to become very favorable. At that same number, we can also become a self-insurance company for short term. So that's where we want to take the group if we, once we start growing the numbers and people come on board.
Okay, so I think Ivan, we're at the top of the hour almost, and the beauty about now, the fact that we have got this forum as our own, is that we can perhaps keep it open for 10 to 15 minutes and just see how people interact here. And my suggestion is that the interaction you now do is that you put your details on the right-hand side or on the chat group. I've got it on my right-hand side. But you put your details in there, or any unfinished or unanswered question on your side you put there, or anything that you want to promote. And I look at folk like Andrew. Andrew, I'm looking at you, and I know you come along there, and it's difficult to be a financial advisor in these type of markets. And I want to explore how we can work with an individual like you that actually opens up other markets, and how we can connect you closely to the Chamber Bank, etc. And then how we work with a guy like Herman who has access to all the data, and that I've got to try and move him off being a commission salesperson or consultant and try and get him into joint venture and strategic alliance mode. But knowing the guys have got to make money, Herman, I see you smiling there. I want to share in your comment whatever we do on the database side. But Herman, I want to explore a lot deeper the resource that you've got, because I think every individual in business wants access to that resource. And the challenge today is, how do you reduce your costs and outlay, reduce your risk, and increase your return? So there are different structures that we can utilize, but I understand from where you're working from. Who else can I see in there? Dawn and Alex and Gavin on the virtual trade fair. This thing is, I think, the biggest thing since peanut butter, together with the Chamber Bank, that we should all be working with collaboratively, because it can expand our database reach, the type of target markets that we actually want to get to. And of course, we're working in the background as to how members at the Chamber can actually share in the income that comes from exhibitors that come on board. So Chamber members can start introducing people into the virtual trade fair and earn an income. So Gavin, I hope I've got that correct. We just want to expand. We want to actually get 1,000 exhibitors into the virtual trade fair on the 20th, by the 20th of June, I believe is the correct date. Someone shake their head. Is that correct? 20th of June is our target date, right?
We actually want to hold the fair on the 20th of June.
Yes.
So yeah, we need people in, especially exhibitors need to come in at least 2 weeks prior to that, because there's preparation work, there's setting up of their virtual booths and environments and links and chats and hosts. So there's a lot of work to be done. So certainly the 20th of June is the date for the show. There's a lot of work to be done for people who want to participate prior to that. So yeah, we need to get people in ASAP and get them involved and get it up and running. The environment's there, but you don't just pitch up on the day and think you're going to exhibit. It's not going to happen. You need to actually do a bit of work up front. So we need guys who are really interested in that, or have contacts who could be interested in that to get up to speed. And I think just to add on to what you said in terms of people staying online, obviously one of the things we can start to do is potentially set up breakout rooms, during the sessions, where people can go off into smaller groups and have individual discussions amongst those smaller groups. So very happy to look at facilitating that for guys as we go ahead. So I think there's a lot we can do here, and you know, it's a question of, it's going to be driven again by you guys, the participants, the members, whoever's involved. So we'd like to see and hear what your interests are, what your thoughts are, you know, how you'd like to see us take it forward, and how we can develop this to suit everybody's requirements. So perhaps what we can just do for this session, Trev, is just run through the list very quickly again and ask for a sort of 30 to 60 second closing message from everybody in terms of the thoughts and the points that I've just made, and then I think we end the session off for today. I'm going to obviously save the chat box info. We can, if everybody's put their details in there, we'll get them on a mailing list and get those details out to them as well from the chat box. I don't want to broadcast that generally. I think we keep it to the people that have participated, and what I'll probably do is look to take some of the snippets out of this meeting, which I've recorded, and put them up on YouTube, you know, so people can go and review and listen to them again if needs be. So I think let's take that approach, and maybe just start with Andrew. Just some final closing comments from you and thoughts on the way forward, perhaps.
Okay, thanks, Ivan. Yeah, in terms of financial services now, I'm a Sanlam financial planner. So we have all the facilities and that in place where we can actually interlink with people directly, actually show them on their own screens exactly what we're looking at in terms of doing quotations, investment quotations, and various information in order to help them develop their own growth in their financial planning. Obviously, you know, Herman's got, for me anyway, has got a great opportunity there in terms of providing a whole lot of leads. For financial planners, it doesn't really work that well in terms of just getting a list of leads. Nobody, and even myself, I get calls all the time from financial planners potentially trying to do business with me, and you guys all get those calls on a daily basis, and you try and find excuses of how you should knock these guys off. So I would, yes, obviously like those lists and like to get a hold of a lot of those people, but cold calling just doesn't seem to work these days. It's different, and that's where Cecile could really be of quite assistance, where she knows those people and can actually introduce her companies and people within those companies, so that I could assist them with their financial planning. I'm also hooking up a lot with Jasper in terms of gig. So that's another way where we're actually helping people with their financials and their businesses, and giving financial and business advice in terms of growing their businesses and finding solutions to their problems. So there are, as I say, there are definitely ways that we can hook up and do specific quotations and that online, as we are at this moment of time with this COVID-19 and stuff that we have to deal with. But in future, it's always a better way to maybe do business in terms of saving on time and fuel. And that's one thing I've found now, being locked down, is that we spend a lot more time doing stuff as opposed to traveling in a car and sitting in traffic. And we found that is a huge waste of time when you can actually do a lot of this kind of business online.
Okay, great. Thanks, Andrew. I think we'll move on to Cecile now.
Sorry, nothing much to say. It was a good session. It was great listening to all of you. Yeah, let's see how we can all talk to each other again, and enjoy your weekends.
Great. Thanks, Cecile. Dawn? Alex?
I just want to say that, you know, being an entrepreneur is a very lonely space. And until I actually joined the chamber, it made me realize just how important it is to collaborate with like-minded people, professional people. And I've been a member just over a year now, and it's been enormously enormous value add to designs and growth as a person. So my journey with the Chamber has been outstanding. And even now, this first week of lockdown has just flown by. I don't know where the first week's gone. We've been so busy focusing on positive things, which is going to help everyone grow, which is just awesome. So just to spread the word, and I will try and get other people to join the Chamber meeting next Friday.
Great, fantastic. Thanks. Alex, do you want to just add in there?
Yeah, just to reiterate what my mom has said, that there's just massive value in collaborating, especially nowadays. If you got the mindset that there's competition instead of collaboration, then you're not going to get very far. And the Chamber is about collaborating. It's not about competition. And it's the main thing that I've actually got out of everything that we've done with the Chamber.
Fantastic, thanks. Gavin, wrap up from you? Kevin, you with us?
Sorry, guys, I'm working on 3 screens here, and I couldn't find which blooming screen had the switch off the mic and switch on the mic thing. No, it's great. You know, there's a lot to do and there's a lot happening, and I'm looking forward to what we're creating. It's going to be fun.
Super, thanks, Gav. Guy, a final wrap up from you?
Fantastic session, really focused on true networking, and it's been put out from my perspective the first time about on this platform and physically face-to-face, the number of members we want, etc. So yeah, those are the 2 things: the true networking, the integrity that comes with it, and the trust, and the membership growth. That's the bottom line, because collaborating is the key. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Guy. Herman, your first session. So you've been bullied by Trevor and given some challenges put in front of you. What are your thoughts?
No, I think it's a great session. I think it's a great opportunity not only to collaborate with the people in the session, but all of us know other people. We've got our own networks, and I might see somebody here that I could connect to someone else where there's an opportunity. So the more numbers you can get in here, the better. Definitely, I'm happy to join up after today. So I'll be seeing you guys again.
Super.
And I'm sorry for the way I communicated, Trevor. It's a skill to communicate what you have in your head to people on a forum like this live. So I'll get better at it. I also only imparted half of my business in terms of the data side and not the consulting. And I'm very happy to give my hours to explore opportunities with anybody out there for free on projects to see if we can get something going. So please don't see me as somebody that just wants to get something out of this for myself. I'm happy to contribute wherever I can. I love imparting knowledge as well. So thanks for that, and hope to see you guys again next week.
Fantastic, Herman. Thanks, appreciate that. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. You know, it's not about trying to sell your widget to somebody in this session. It's about who you know and who they know, and how do we connect our networks to our networks and get the right people involved. And I think that's really one of our key focuses is exactly that. So I think you've got the essence of it perfectly well done. Right, Peter Brown.
There we go. I missed some of the sessions, so connection issues. But I think that when faced with an issue such as coronavirus, I think what's interesting is it challenges some of your assumptions around how you're doing your business. So there were some very positive things that I saw with just being able to. I was almost my business and life hasn't changed, and I think that where with the Chamber, it's in that we are able to connect and continue doing business despite everybody else not being there, and that for me is extremely exciting, so that one has a more resilient business model to attract the people. So I really think that would be exciting for me to see, is how we jointly all grow the pool of people coming into the Chamber together.
Great, fantastic. Thanks, Peter. I'm a bit worried about Cecile. She seems to have fallen over sideways. But Peter Kutzer, would you like to pick up from there?
Evan, thank you. I think all the predecessors have said everything that needs to be said. It was a very useful meeting, very good meeting, and I wish everybody everything of the best for the rest of the lockdown period.
Thanks, Peter. Rick? Rick, are you with us? Unmute yourself.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very, very enjoyable, interesting session. I've made notes of the telephone numbers that have come my way. Thank you very much. We'll endeavour to make contact. Here's the thought that's in my mind, is that according to the National Credit Regulator, prior to the lockdown, 4 out of 10 folks were in need of financial advice, in the sense that they were 1 or 2 months behind on debt installments. Can we imagine what's going to happen now as we go forward with all the potential loss of jobs and so on? So what this requires is me to mentor and transfer skill on how to budget, how to take in the revised circumstances. I'd be delighted to be of assistance to anybody. And I will explore what I can do with my own contacts in the folks that I've jotted down, and will make a point to call in the next few days. Thank you very much for a most enjoyable morning.
Great, thanks, Rick. Rob, you first time on as well, and I think Trevor drilled down into your situation, your business as well. So interested to hear your thoughts on what you've heard today and how you see it going forward.
Firstly, thank you for the invitation. It's been very informative. Compliments to the guys that actually formulated this whole idea. Interesting to know that as far as COVID is concerned, our team of 40 developers have continued almost business as usual. So from a technical perspective, no issue. But from a psychological exposure, that's going to be interesting. See if people can handle the lack of hugs and shaking hands and actually interacting directly. That's going to be the next little challenge for us all, I think. The idea of the virtual trade fair, I think, is stunning. And I think many of us will want to participate either as a provider or a subscriber. So I look forward to the future on that one. And yeah, I'll be in the call next week.